Hello, Internet. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Chris.
We rehearsed this. This is the Jaunty Mantis, a podcast of creative questions for curious gamers. And before we get into tonight's topic about whether or not you should split the party, Chris, what have you been up to in RPGs lately?
Oh boy, we Sunday night group. We made Traveler characters yesterday, which was very fun. Let's see.
Was anybody a dilettante?
No character names though. Mox Adele, Maeve Gibson, and Simply B. And then there's of course Rad Magnum.
I love Rad Magnum. What's he getting up to?
Rad had dreams of, I assume, being a pilot because he joined the Navy and lost his eye in an incident and got
chasing that
out.
sweet naval rank that never works out.
So he said, heck, I'm going to be a pirate, which I think was his ultimate dream anyways, and had a mishap in that term as well. So he washed out of that. I believe he made some enemies or something at that go, but I forget. And then in the third, and we just did 3 terms. So the final one tried to go into law enforcement, like, hey, I'll go straight. We'll try that. Did not make the qualifying role and then became a drifter.
Oh, man, that's sad. You know how unskilled you have to be to not qualify as a cop?
Right. Ouch. Who was it? Was Mox Adele was in the Scouts and washed out in second term, but then submitted to the draft for the final term and got right back in the Scouts.
Nice.
So sometimes when you're the only trained person on hand, I guess you get your job back.
This is not like Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts, right?
No, the Scouts are they're couriers, but they also like make first contact and explore new star systems and things.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. So like capitalist Starfleet.
Yeah. Nice. And then next session, we're going to take care of equipment and choose the group skill package and then use an infinity of ships to make the scout vessel and free trader that they have access to super cool and interesting with soundtracks and fun adjectives in their name.
Awesome. I'm really curious to know how that book works in play. It's got such a cool cover. I can't wait to
find out. They really tell you to just kind of freeform it and do what you will with it, which I'm excited to just start throwing stuff out there. What have you been up to, Jesse, in role-playing games?
Well, last night, Sunday, so much, man, was Maddie's game. And Maddie brought back, we had a guys trip earlier in the year, and almost all the players in the Sunday night group were there. Regrettably, our friend Patrick, who was running the Chaos Earth game, could not make it. But we had enough beers early in the afternoon to think that we could fix 5e initiative. And using something from the Advanced Player's Guide by Sword and Sorcery from 3.5, we created a phased initiative system. And Maddie wanted to bring it back since we had invented it and not used it. And we tried it. And, it's pretty fun. I don't know that you can fix initiative. It's like trying to slap a big old tactical patch on D&D 5th edition that I don't think necessarily, like, the screw through tactical play in 5e is right on the rim of the tire is my metaphor. For sure. So they're going to be like, you need to buy a new one.
So what's the short description of phased initiative?
So everybody's action. Oh man, I don't know that there is a short description for it. Okay,
I love it already.
You divide the turn into chunks. So there's first action and first movement.
Is that all?
So if everybody has an action, their first action, they all happen at the same time, and that could be your standard action or a bonus action that isn't a trigger. Right. So if you bonus action to dash, it happens during the action phase, if that's when you use it. Everybody's first actions, if they have one, go off at the same time. Then it's first movement. Everybody moves then. And then if you have another action or you held or delayed your action, like you needed to move to somebody to attack them, it happens in that second chunk, which is second main action and second move. And then there's remaining spells at the very end. I can't remember why we made that. There was a reason when we were like day drinking in Kansas City back in March, but like all we had was a photo that we wrote and wet erase marker on the TAC map to go from. So,
hey, now Rollmaster has 4 segments to each round. So,
well, that's an action. You could have gotten system. More. That's nuanced. A little. You gotta let those charge up. You're right. We could. And then the other thing too about it is like you basically like, because we were playing on Zoom, Maddie was taking his headphones out and we had 2 minutes to come up with our battle plan, which was basically like our intention. Like, I want to get to this guy and hit him. So those were I would take actions within that thing to try and do that. But I could cancel an action so I didn't waste a spell if my target had moved out of sight or something. But like you can't really just switch targets because the idea is it's happening too fast. You have to be like, in this short exchange, my intention is to get to this guy and wail on him. So ironically,
D&D combat never happens fast in the actual table experience.
Yeah. And when you have a 2-minute pause, I don't know. I mean, it's fun. I like it. I'm willing to try it more. When we play tested it in this fight against kobolds where they were all like running away and fighting like kobolds, it was like, these little guys are terrifying. Oh, yeah. Like, because they're just out maneuvering us like crazy and drawing us into traps. And it was a really fun. And then I picked some random encounters, had them roll up characters real fast and beyond. And then we tested it with like some big boss fights from like level 5 and level 7 from the, what is it? There's like a big Pathfinder, like mega dungeon that got converted to 5e that I had found discounted at a game store in Kansas City that was going out of business. So I ran some boss fights out of that. I don't know. It's a fun system. Yeah. It's, I heard a comedian once talk about like, somebody on crystal meth will like take a hammer to bicycle spokes thinking they're improving the wheel. That might've been us. But yeah, that was fun. And then Sunday, my New Year's gaming goal of play more games, I launched my first open table initiative, which I launched. About that. Yeah, I invited you and didn't communicate the time effectively, so you thought it conflicted with something. I launched it the day before, thinking if I cast a wide enough net, it'll work. And one person showed up. So Jordan, thank you. It was fun. We played... We Deal in Lead, which is Into the Odd Like that is basically the Dark Tower and the Gunslinger, like the Stephen King books. So it was really fun. I really like the rules light approach. Into the Odd games, you have 3 stats. Most of your rolls are, if there's a risk of, messing up, it's a saving throw. Everything is a saving throw under one of those 3 stats. You have in the original game, they called it hit protection, that you can lose before you start taking real damage. And then when you start taking real damage, it comes from your stat. So your chance to make saves go down and it wears on you. Combat is deadly. You don't roll to hit in combat. Everybody hits automatically.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. But this had special rules for the guns because they're relic gun weapons and a cool little like dueling system for when 2 gunslingers like draw on each other. So
what's the overall quick pitch for this open table initiative? Like, what are you thinking?
I am going to get probably starting with one shots. But when I find something I like, I'll probably keep doing it with maybe like a hex crawl or a hex map or something. I'm throwing it out there on this Discord I put together, trying to get as many people as I can and say, hey, this time, this place, I'm running a game. It'll take about 3 hours. Like who's in, react if you want to come. And then I'll take the first like 5 or 6 people, we'll show up and then we'll play. And and then
once you get locked into a game system or a campaign, it'll be rotating cast, open table, like we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, it'll be like, here's the hex map of what's been explored. Here's an update on what they found last time. The next time I run, I'm interested in, people going to this tower that was revealed on the hex map. Or if I was doing a mega dungeon, interested in exploring the second floor of the mega dungeon.
So are you going to be kind of guiding the direction for the sessions?
Yep. This is the session I want to run. This is the goal. Who's in?
Yeah, I like that. I tried to put that in the player's hand when I did the Skullport Inc., Undermountain equivalent to this. And it was like pulling teeth sometimes to get people to have opinions and sync up. And it's like, I like the idea. Maybe I just tell you where we're going to go,
Yeah, that was my experience with running the West Marches style game is like, when my buddy Corey ran one in Eberron and it was fun, but it was like, I felt like after a while I was the only one being like, hey, I want to go to this hex on the map. Who wants to come with me? Okay. Corey, do you want to do this here? So I'm like, all right, it's like, I don't know why, but RPG players as a group tend to be kind of indecisive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you need someone in the group that will just jump right in just to get them to get off their butts and make a decision sometimes.
Yeah. So if I'm like, hey, here's the map, here's the site I want to ping, who wants to go after it? Then we'll see how it works. But
heck yeah.
I did my first one-on-one RPG ever with Jordan, and I had a great time.
Yeah.
I did get to say, for those of you who are Gunslinger fans or Dark Tower fans, I did get to say, I have not forgotten the face of my father. When I reach the glade at the end of the path, I just wish to die with steel in my hand. So,
Was that in the first book? Because that's the only one I ever read, I think.
The face of my father is all over the first book, which is the only one I've ever read.
It's been a while, I guess.
Yeah. But it's cool. Got a little excursion adventure creator in it. I don't know. I think I'm going to run that as my next one.
Cool.
So yeah, that's it. And then this week I have Vampire and prep's done. So
yeah, I can't wait to find out if we're playing Waterdeep Nights on Thursday. Statistically, probably not, but one can dream.
Cool. I think I'm in the Discord for that game.
Yeah. It's on the Neutral Evil server. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, our question for tonight, this was your topic.
Yes.
And the question was, should you split the party?
No. The question is a statement, and it's always split the party.
Oh, right. Sorry, I messed up. I didn't read the
I don't
notes.
think that's exactly what I put, but.
So I think to talk about this is for newer players. I feel like a lot of people who have been in the hobby for more than a month know this, like old chestnut. But I think this was advice for players rather than GMs from back in the day that was like, hey, you need to be running with a small war band. Never split your party. And in the dungeon. And so it kind of just became this thing that kicks around. But you, I think, had been interested in talking about the possibilities of what happens when you always split the party.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the argument against not splitting the party is, well, the encounters are balanced for this, or if you run into something difficult, you're going to need everybody there. And if a small group could get picked off easily. But I play tabletop war games and the occasional tactical game, so my RPGs are not that so much anymore. I mean, they have an element of those things, but the story is far more important. And in stories, it's very cool to get characters split off into different groups for their interactions and to increase the level of peril when something does happen. Like, it's really hard in 5e to threaten your players, not as hard as it was in 4e once they get past the first few levels. And so getting them to split up and giving them good reasons to split up and have scenes together and stuff.
Yeah, first level 5e characters. I got bonked on the head with a flagon last night for 2 points of damage, and I was like, ooh, this is pretty serious.
Yeah, maybe first level characters should not split the party.
Yes. I think also, too, people worry when they split the party about like people's interest and, people like tuning out, checking their phone, etc. But I think I have some ideas of some ways around that, and I think you have some ideas of some ways around that.
I want to hear your ideas.
Well, the weird thing is, I think the thing that really got me thinking about splitting the party, and Maddie is unfortunately not here tonight. He is, I think, on childcare duty for his son, Beezer Fortuna. So, Maddie always compliments my pacing, but I got some good pacing advice of all or some good pacing advice from, of all places, the Riff's Adventure Guide, which has this really long, like paragraph, like multi-paragraph essay about how to run a game. And because the initiative system has never been formally determined for any Palladium game, and there's like you look at 2 different books and you'll have 3 different ways to run it. It was designed and play tested, I think, with groups of 20 people. So you would be splitting the party pretty frequently. And so the thing that I've gotten into is narrating these, the attack, and then getting to a little mini cliffhanger of like the enemy getting to go, and then switching the camera to another group of players involved in a different section of the fight. The initiative system in Palladium games actually is designed to let you do that really easily. But if you have people in 2 different locations, it's, a great way to do it.
They could be in the same initiative, or you could group them into different scenes in that initiative order, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I
think I remember talking about this with you on the front porch, like trying to use bricks as a diagram while we drank absinthe and smoked pipes.
Well, I definitely don't remember that for reasons.
It's one of those things that when I heard it, I was like, oh my God, why didn't I ever think about this or read this earlier in my life? Because I immediately thought of running Shadowrun, where, like Matrix combat and what the Decker's doing is like a whole other game. And I'm just like, man, if I had known to switch the camera back and forth, like
it's every show and every movie you watch, they're switching. I'm doing my rewatch of Stranger Things for the new season, and they're constantly leaving off at the most dramatic moment to let that tension build, while they then go to something else, a contrasting scene, or the tension rising or the action rising elsewhere, and the effect altogether is always excellent. And I find that in my games when you pause right before the thing's about to happen, like you said, right before the enemy attacks or whatever, and go to another part of the fight or another scene entirely. And it leaves everybody just wondering what's going to happen. And I usually have, to keep people locked in, I try to, in our session 0 or early on, be like, listen, when your character is not the center of attention, try to be, like, we all have ADHD. I get it in most of my groups, right? But try to be respectful and attentive to whoever's scene it is, whoever's moment, whoever turning in combat. And, you might have to look at what your character's doing and all that stuff. But I like to prime people to think about, and I'll even say it's like watching a show, right? Like when your character's not on screen, there's going to be an interesting scene about someone else's character, and hopefully you form some sort of feelings about their character and their well-being or their exploits or what have you.
Yeah, I'm super looking for opportunities to do this, because one of my player instincts after years of playing is like, look for an in-character emotionally loaded question to ask someone else if you find yourself like we're just hanging back at, around the corner while the rogue sneaks ahead to pick the lock. I'm going to try and get a role play scene in there.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
Well, thank you. Draw people in. I think it's the teacher instinct of just trying to make sure everybody's engaged. But I'm super excited about the challenge of doing that with this character I'm playing in Maddie's game. Ducky, they're called Grolocks in this setting, but he's a Dragonborn artificer. And basically, Dragonborn in Maddie's game, he talked about on the podcast, are like Sweetums, the giant Muppet. And so I've been having so much fun with the characterization. So I have this giant, oversized Muppet where I get to make my eyes real big and be like, that was a visual cue for people listening on Spotify. Made faces. I made faces. I tried to do a human version of Animal from the Muppets. I don't know if it worked or not. But I'm really excited with that physicality of this ridiculous character getting into some serious emotional beats with this character. And I think a split party is going to give me an opportunity to try some of those out on somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love sticking people in what seem like low stakes situations, but then if they don't come up with a prompt like you're saying, which a lot of people do, but just giving them something to talk about, something they see in the scene, something they find or learn, some critical piece of information for the characters in the other scene or in the fight that could just make all the difference.
Mm-hmm. I think Powered by the Apocalypse games have some very different advice about GMing, because one of your game mother moves that they say, when you need to make a moves, one of them from the list is separate them. And I mean, those games are all designed, I think, to have interpersonal drama as the fore of the story. So hey, separate them. And then you have a mini bottle episode with, two players that maybe don't like each, or two characters that don't like each other in the same scene. What do they talk about while they're trapped in the sub basement because the floor collapsed?
That's really good. I think this can be a cure, or at least a treatment, for boring combat too. If you're just going around and people are swinging, attacking, getting attacked, and it just feels a little rote. Certainly like a lot of my 4E combats were back in the day, and how some of my 5E combats have been. If you've divided the party and you can, it's feeling a little slow here, I'm gonna drop something exciting and make a mole on it, and while we go to this other scene, to help charge it up and just break up the flow. And the adage is never split the party, and I have people, often older gamers, my peers, repeat it, and it's I want you guys to split the party. The opportunity for exciting role play just goes up so much. And also from the person running the game, a criticism I've seen when this comes up of splitting the party on the game mother side is that it is harder to keep track of, but it's already a series of individual scenes once you break into most fights, unless everybody's beating on one creature, and it doesn't have a long enough body for someone to be attacking the tail while someone's attacking the head, or some colossus you're climbing. That's going to be kind of broken up anyways. You move to the next person and you're kind of refreshing them and yourself on what's going on in their little part of the fight. And that's not that much different from what's going on if the other characters are in an entirely different room or building or plane,
Yeah, I'm personally in a big fight against, say, a single boss monster, in 5e or something. I find everybody just wailing on the boss to be not very interesting.
It's usually not. No.
It's okay, let's just take down the hit point sponge, and there we go. Shout out again to the Into the Odd. And, we deal in Lead and Mythic Bastion Land and Cairn and Rune Cairn and Electric Bastion Land. This is this section of the shelf right there. Oh, the pretty books. I love them so much. Okay. Is that when multiple people, and this works for monsters too, attack the same target, everybody rolls their damage die at the same time, and you just take the highest one, and that's the damage that's done. So I think players who do that really quickly realize it is the non-optimal path to have everybody just attack the same monster. And since combat is so deadly, that means that I think creative players, once they realize that, will start looking for other ways to interact with it that aren't just remove the hit points from the hit point sponge.
Right.
They're going to look for a way to knock a bookcase over on it or trip it or something to get an advantage. I think also if you have a split party, then you have more options to do that with multiple enemies, and you're not just dropping the hit point sponge.
Yeah, and that's, touches on the issue that games like D&D have, where there's action economy, and unless you go out of your way to correct it, the single monster is at a huge disadvantage. And there's stuff from at least 2014 D&D or 2015 D&D. I'm less familiar with the newest changes to give monsters lair actions and stuff like that. And MCDM has come up with things like villainous actions or whatever, just more opportunities for the boss or the big guy to do more cool stuff to keep them on par with the whole party. But man, give a reason for the players to split up. There's two important things that need to be done at the same time. Someone has to confront the big bad, but if someone is in the basement dismantling his machinery or killing the power or whatever, then there's no way we can stop his plan,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
I
then
like
you
that.
don't have to have all these crazy mechanics to make your boss monster, the equivalent of 5 or 6 heroes.
Have you ever had, this is a situation I've had, have you ever had a party that doesn't want to split?
Yes. Yes.
So this is one of the things like, all right, since I know some of you on A Team listen, I love you. I'm very grateful I get to play with all of you. However, you guys are super tight as your characters and never want to really have a lot of interpersonal. It's why my first vampire campaign, I was like, you guys are not having fun with this because vampire is so inherently wrapped up in PvP. Like you are going to be messing with the other characters in your coterie from time to time. And that was not fun for them. And I probably should have mentioned that and checked in before I started running that campaign.
Should have been a werewolf pack, apparently.
Yes, we did do a werewolf game, and that was pretty fun until the political message I was trying to do with that game, given the time that we were in then, became too overwhelming and real, and I was like, you guys can't win. So, oh God.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gift to me as the game mother when the party splits up the majority of the time. There might be times where, for various reasons, it can be undesirable, I suppose. I feel like that's a feeling I've had, probably. It's like either I've already got a lot to keep track of, or I'm really trying to move the story to a whole new section, new area, And it's like, I don't know. I think hopefully this conversation will help me keep in mind that splitting the party is actually super fun a lot of the time. But also, like, I don't mind explicitly letting the group know. It's like, listen, it's about this time. So based on the plans you've expressed, it's probably time to group back up at the tavern or whatever, just so that we can get to the next thing that they all probably need to be there for whatever reason. But I don't know, given one group information and then watching the players that aren't in that scene know it, but then like, okay, well, character knowledge, I can't act on that, And most the people I play with are just awesome in that they will lean into that, and even have fun with their ignorance.
Or I tell them that. Like, the GM tells you something. Okay, I tell them that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If they are in the scene or when they meet back up, I don't mind that at all. It is great if someone can do it convincingly and fun in character. But if you just got a big lore drop sometimes, and different players are, some people are more comfortable speaking in character just in general, much less when they have to repeat something that the whole table just heard. I'm sure it can feel a little silly. I wouldn't know. I'm too busy voicing weird goblins. So,
yeah, this is maybe a little I think the idea of having characters in character deliver hidden information is an area where you can really push things with a split party. One particular instance I can think of, and this may be a little early 2000s edgelordy of me, but like I made a character in this game, 3.5 I was playing in, his name was Dashing Jack Daft. First time I used that name. I've used that name for multiple bards since because I just love it. But like that character was like a neutral evil bard who just glommed onto adventuring parties to like start shit so he'd have something good to write a song about. And my friend who was running it was running a Wheel of Time campaign. I had not read the books. I did not know what Wheel of Time was about. And so at one point we were getting chased into this underground city. It was only loosely, maybe it was the Ogier who had built it, but I thought it was like a dwarven city underground. And we're being chased by the Murdoll. And he's doing a really great job of telegraphing, you don't want to fight these guys.
No.
And so we come across this giant like stone plinth that's inscribed in like this ancient language. And at the time, bards had like decipher script as a skill. So I roll a skill check and he's just like, okay, it says this hall is a holy place of peace. Raise no weapon. Do not fight here. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, what's it say? I'm like, oh, it's just a dwarven grudge book. It's just recording all the people that they're mad about. Dwarves, like they're just mad about all these things, and these are the people they'll never forgive. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then the Murdoll burst into the room, and sure enough, our battle cleric draws his mace and attacks one. And then the floor opens up and drops holy fire, and I think I might have gotten him killed. Because the GM had designed that encounter to have us take a hit or two from the Murdahl, but then have the holy fire do that.
Sure.
And I lied about hidden information. Not a thing I would do now, but...
Do you often give hidden information to specific players, like under the table, as it were? Not out loud to everybody?
Not really. And the A team, I mean, I will in Vampire, because that's an important part of the gameplay. But for D&D, everybody's in A team that I'm playing mostly 5e with. Everybody's celebrating people's successes. So there's just an assumption that when someone gets a piece of hidden information, they share it with everybody else.
Right.
So everybody gets the lore drop,
I've had players keep character secrets for years in game. And then it happened in Waterdeep Nights when a married couple that plays in the game, one of them was secretly not what she seemed. And it took, even though there was hints the whole time, years, literal years of real time, and months in game time, of course, before it came out. And it was like, her husband was just like, what? It was very fun. I'll send, that game's all online, so it's really easy to shoot people Discord messages. And I love, again, split the party, because then you make them do the lore drops for you. You make them hand out the secret and clue. I can copy paste something from my notes and send it to the player that discovered it. And then they get to put it in their own words. And then either deliberately or quite often, like a game of telephone by accident, they will not communicate it very well. And sometimes I'll correct them if I feel compelled to. But a lot of times, if that's the way they want to state it, sure, go in with that misunderstanding.
Yeah, this is an abstract version of split the party, but people having hidden information as a way at which the party is not on the same field. And, I think certain games with the right player group, that's definitely a thing that spices up the story. Digital tools, as you mentioned, are a great way to do that. I'm running in person, but I've been thinking about this because of something I heard on, God, I can't remember, probably Happy Jacks 8 years ago or something, about the idea they were doing an online vampire game, and somebody was the GM was texting what an object in the scene had special connection. So the player starts interacting with it and staring at this picture, and everyone's like, what's going on with this? And I think in an urban horror game or an urban fantasy game, that's a great idea. I'm trying to figure out if I can text fast enough to do that at the table on Wednesday. But then,
I always have my laptop in front of me, and that helps.
Encouraging people to look at their phones is maybe not the move that I want to be making at my game.
Yeah, I'll just be like, I sent you a Discord message where I texted you, and if it's for something explicit like that, it usually works pretty well in my experience. People are either going to be on their phone or they're not. And if they need that to cope with the, rough edges of reality, I get it. We gotta stem sometimes.
Fair enough. What's your next game you're running? It's probably the Waterdeep Nights.
Maybe Waterdeep Nights. Probably Sunday's game again, finishing off our traveler characters and customizing our ships. Yep. I don't have my monthly game until the following weekend, it looks like. So,
say Waterdeep Nights fires off. Mm-hmm. Challenge. How are you splitting the party?
Oh, man. So there had just went through a portal in Undermountain to the level where the people they're looking for are, and people that are related to people's backstories are engaged in a struggle, buying drow houses, trying to take control of Undermountain so they can eventually take over Waterdeep. But there's going to be lots of opportunities to split them up as they converse with different people and tell different stories about their goals and their motivations, hopefully. So I'm excited to see how that goes. It's been a while since we've had a chance to play, and there was a long break before that last session or two. So got to get everybody back in the gear, catch them up real quick and then set them loose. I think it'll be a short trek through the dungeon to this big drow fortification. But that's where I'm hoping for most of the session to happen.
Nice. Well, I got Vampire. The way I'm going to do that is, okay, spoilers for Crimson Gutter. The characters are currently have accepted a mission to go tie up some loose ends on the masquerade of this, this vampire, this white who lost all their humanity. They've discovered he had this ghoul and this bent cop that was working for him. And so they're going to try. His
ghoul friend, we call him.
Yeah, his ghoul friend who was a reporter. And they're going to try and tie up those loose ends and figure out what they know and be like, hey, you can't say shit. Very mob boss style. But as part of that, from my notes from last session, one of the Nosferatu, Olivier, is going to go talk to his criminal contact to see what he knows about this bent cop. And then, so I'm going to have him go do that and start narrating the scene and like pushing it, because this contact is one of his touchstones. So it should always be very interesting but dangerous to talk to your touchstones in a vampire game. That's just my opinion, because there's horrific consequences for harming them, but you are a, killing machine, a monster, and a corpse. So, it's risky to talk to normal people.
For sure.
So I'm going to try and push that to like some sort of interesting thing and then switch to the other Nosferatu character who is like stalking this woman, putting up missing posters of her in the confrontation, and then switch. And so I'll have them in different places and just switch back and forth.
Whenever it feels dramatic.
Whenever it feels like, oh, what's about to happen? Like you feel the anger rising in your gut. Meanwhile, back at Pink Slips.
Yeah. Whatever they least want you to switch, but because it turns out they probably actually do. The resistance is what makes it fun.
Well, here's the other thing about the camera switch, if you will. It gives that player more time to think of something cool to do in reaction.
As the game mother. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't know that I feel the reprieve because I'm still having to be locked in the next scene. But
the back part of my brain is cooking typically when that happens, because I can do so many things at once poorly. It's great for RPGs because, you just hand it all to the players. And then when you're interacting, like, oh, part of my brain is like slowly percolating and we get back there and I've had time to develop it. That may not work well for everybody. Speaking of like, do we have any tips to help people if they find it difficult to maintain multiple scenes?
I mean, like, column your notes if you're a note taker. Like draw a line so you can get...
If you anticipate different scenes happening, I like that.
Well, if you feel the scene is splitting up, like you've got your notes, you're kind of tracking, and suddenly the party's split, draw a line in the middle of your page, one on one side, and then you can kind of, keep track as they go.
So you also run with like scratch paper in front of you with like haphazard notes on it?
I run with scratch paper in the best of intentions and often have like one sentence like dog ?
Sexy
like,
goblin ?
Yes.
For the meme.
Yeah. I literally had like 2 vampire sessions ago. It was like dog ? Was like the only note I came out of. And I was like, I need to get better. This does not help my prep.
That's why you got to record your sessions.
Yeah. I know. I should.
It was one of the best things I ever started doing for my DMing, but specifically for switching between scenes. If we have minis, I will like sometimes sort the minis into the groups. And if we have a Chessex mat I can wet erase on, I might write where they are at the moment, just so we can all kind of keep track. I guess you could make your players physically move seats, but that seems inconvenient.
Yeah, you can also, too, if you've got like a split party for like a social thing, if you've got like a little note card system for your NPCs, like if you're doing D&D, something as simple as like, I know that it's not in 2025 anymore, but like goal, bond, ideal, flaw, and then like the goal in a scene. Like I thought about this a lot because at some point I really want to run like Out of the Abyss. Mm-hmm. Which starts off the party with like 7 weird NPCs with them. So I think if you have little note cards of just like or you could just write on a scrap piece of paper, couple personality notes and a scene goal, like hand those out to other PCs and be like, hey, you want to play this character?
Oh,
for this scene?
That's a great move.
So then you can keep more people engaged in the table and then buy yourself some more time to furiously scribble ideas.
I have not done that near enough. It's happened on occasion where players have like just taken over an NPC in a scene, but that's something I maybe should add to my goals for the year for game mothering.
Yeah, I want to do that more in Vampire, but I'm kind of like, I've accepted the responsibility of role playing the victim, and I'm not sure I want to be like, hey, awkwardly flirt with your friend while playing this person that's about to get eaten by this vampire.
Now there are some systems, and I'm sure you're more likely to be able to name them than I am, but like, if you have a animal companion or a wizard's familiar or something, another player controls it, right? That's something you're familiar with, aren't you?
Yeah. Predation, the Cypher game that we reviewed in the dinosaur season, like explicitly as like, have another player play that. Wraith the Oblivion, your shadow, who is the dark part of yourself, is played by another character at the table. I am so intrigued by that. Maybe I should have put that on my 2026 goals.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that's something I want to do more of. Maybe I feel like that kind of thing where it's explicit from the start and kind of everybody has an opportunity to do it in different fashions might work very well. It does make me think in that long running D&D campaign, I did a session where everybody played as either like an animal companion or a sentient artifact or weapon that they'd accumulated along the way. It was there's a lot of implications for that one, but they had a good time playing as like the fairy dragon Otto from when they went into Undermountain, who's a notorious trickster and glutton. And there was a sword that was basically the essence of a black hole, a part of a, condensed chunk of matter that was hurled by Shar at Selune in one of these like Dawn War cataclysmic events that had been crafted into a blade that was slowly awakening over the course of the campaign.
Yeah, as you have in your inventory at any given moment.
They really wanted to devour everything all the time.
I think we talked about this a little bit on the open table, but another great idea is anything where people have it in a sci-fi game, an AI agent.
Yes.
Or a smartphone. If everybody's got like a Siri, have another player play their Siri.
My hope is that with this Starship design game for Traveler, we will I'll get to inhabit some really weird AIs for the vessels. So I don't think I'm going to grant that to them, but perhaps weapon AIs would be fun. I might try to work that in.
Oh man, like I just immediately thought Machine Spirit from 40K. Yes. I'd be like, what if Machine Spirit but can talk?
What if it had the intelligence of a particularly smart dog that could talk? That'd be super fun.
I am the spirit bellicose. What? Who said that? No, that's cool. I will say this is off topic. This is a tangent, but have you ever seen Mindjammer?
It's like a Spelljammer alternative.
No, I think it's intended to make you think that, but it's like a transhumanism, post-scarcity fate sci-fi game where you can wind up playing an entire planetary system as your character. It really takes that everything is a character in Fate thing to its
Jokes
most
on
ridiculous
you,
extreme. Yeah, I know, but the ship's AI has like an android body, and so one PC is the ship, like, and can get into the android body and like walk around on the planet with the people. And
have you read Ann Leckie's Ancillary Justice?
No, I've had it recommended so many times, but
it is basically that, and it's come up multiple times this weekend. So
Sci-Fi Mark's going to be mad at me, but one of the cool things is like the bad guy. Like, so you have this transhuman like empire that have these hyperspace AI ships that update the internet for planetary systems. So everybody's on the same mimetic front. And so you can engage in mimetic warfare, like to bring systems into the commonality. But the bad guys who, Mark's going to be mad at me because I forget their name. The bad guys that you meet are basically the Imperium of Man from 40K. like, peaked capped long coat commissars and shit of like the Empire. It's Empire of the Sun or something. I don't know. Like, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It's really cool.
So this makes me think of another Ann Leckie book that's more of a fantasy book, but it's called The Raven Tower. And the main POV character is a rock.
Okay.
And so now I want to make someone role play a rock. It's way cooler than it sounds.
I volunteer. I mean, one of, classic of Chinese literature is, Dreams in the Red Chamber begins with once there was a stone that wondered what it would like to be a person. And then it was a person for a while. And rich families can't keep their money.
What's it called? Dreams in the what now?
Dreams of the Red Chamber.
Dreams of the Red Chamber.
Yeah, so just in Google, Dreams of the Red Chamber, Rule 34. Just type that and...
No, how dare you?
Okay, sorry.
I think you search it by pressing Alt F4.
I failed my mimetic warfare roll on that one. So, all right, cool. Anything else? Final thoughts?
I'm sure I'll think of something later, but I think we've covered most of the bases.
Okay, if you think we're wrong about splitting the party, tell us.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, or tell us, you can tell us at jauntymantis@gmail.com or in the comments of this YouTube video below. We're also on some of the social media, Threads and Blue Sky at Jaunty Mantis. And until next time, get out there and play some fucking role-playing games.
Yeah, if you split your party, you're playing multiple games at once, technically.
Okay, well, let's split this party and talk to you later.